right before I drive away to forget. Why do I give a damn after everything we said? G'day guys, Chaos Chronicles. Alright, so I've had a couple of people ask me to do a video on Julian Night and how he was able to stay in mainstream, so not protection, for this long. So he's been in jail since 1987. So, all right, a little backstory for those of you who don't know. I will chuck a picture here for those who don't know who Julian Knight is. So, on the 9th of August, 1987, at about just after 9 o'clock, I believe, p.m., Julian Knight, after being bullied, he was in the army, he was in the Defence ADF, and he was at like training or whatever it is. So he was at some academy anyway. He was getting bullied there, and so he's left in a huff. And he's then went and got his Ruger rifle, and he has shot in total. So 26 people. 7 of those people died and lost their life, and 19 more of those people were injured. Now, he had 200 rounds of ammunition, and his outset was to kill as many innocent people as he could with those 200 rounds. And he then saved one round for himself, where he was going to off himself like a coward in the end. But he lost where he put that bullet. Now, all this only took 38 minutes. Now, he nearly shot a police helicopter out of the sky and was shooting at the police. And, yeah, he gave up after a very short amount of time, and the police come and got him. And he was locked up and was in Pentridge back then. And so Port Phillip was built in 1995, I think, 96 or something like that. And so all the inmates from Pentridge Prison, went to other prisons, and more than likely Port Phillip Prison, because it was a maximum security prison. And once Pentridge closed, it was a maximum security prison, our oldest prison in Victoria other than Beechworth, and which is also closed. And so, yeah, he went to jail. And so what can I tell you about Julian Knight? So Jules, as everyone calls him, he's pretty much a model prisoner. Do you know what I mean? Doesn't do anything wrong. Um, he actually has been like the blood spill billet so the billet is someone that works. So he's been the blood spill billet for like 20 years or something like that. So everyone who goes to prison every single week out of your pay, whether you work or you get the dole in prison, so that's what they call it, you get $12 anyway. So they put money out of that in your set aside, which is to go for when you get out. So he was actually given 7 life sentences and never to be released. So he was actually given a minimum, I believe, or no, he wasn't. And this is what his court case. He was trying to get a minimum sentence, and he's actually what's called a vexatious litigant. So he was actually banned from any court because he would just sue and make court about anything, and he was actually banned from court. And so his last appeal was denied, and that was for him to get a minimum on his sentence. And so anyway, I suppose I'll answer the question now, and how has he made it through? Because look, basically you never really see Julian. So like I spent like 6 years in the same jail as Julian. And I mean, other than seeing him up at the gym at night time, because he is a machine. Like, and when I say machine, I mean a machine. This guy does 30-minute rounds. So like you guys, I'm talking 3-minute rounds, smashing the bag. You get pretty exhausted. 3-minute on the skip and rope. This guy does 30 minutes of everything. So like he is an absolute machine. So he hits the bag for 30 minutes at a time, has like a 1 minute break, goes bang straight back into it. Like, this guy is fit. You see him running around all day. Not all day, but when you see him outside, it's usually him running around or on his way to the library with a big stack of paper to fight his law cases and to get on his computer and be able to do all that fighting and shit. But like, it's really hard to answer how has he made it, like, nearly 40 years in prison, without being sent to the boneyard. And he is a machine. Like, he doesn't look like it, but he is a machine. And I've heard stories about people trying to get him and stuff like that. And I've never really had it confirmed or anything. But so I basically think that he has made it all his way through his sentence without getting a beat down. And, he killed innocent people. And I mean, the closest thing I can remember is I remember, I won't say his name, but if you know, you know. So there was a prisoner whose mum was actually killed. His mum or his dad, I can't remember, was actually killed by Julian Knight that night. And no pun intended. And yeah, so I remember there was talk about, I was at MRC with this guy, and he said that if he lands at Port Phillip, if they put him at Port Phillip, and they knew damn well that this guy was a son of one of Julian Knight's victims. And so anyway, I go to Port Phillip. I'm in Scarborough South. Bang, who do you think rocks up? This guy, bang, in Scarborough South. Julian Knight's out in the back unit. So all the yards are segregated. So every yard is segregated. So you've got one unit, Scarborough North, which has its own little yard. Scarborough South, the same, has its own little yard. And then you have like the back compound, which is wax unit, Swallow and Gorgon. And wax is called Wax and Bid. And then you've got the Salamander yard, which has got Salamander, Fishburn East, Fishburn West, and you've also now got the Matilda East, Matilda West as well. And then you've also got Pennine, which is a young offenders unit, and you've also got Marlborough, which is another yard, which is a IDS, mentally impaired yard for people that are, talking to elves and stuff like that. They go there. And so every yard is segregated. So, but most yards you can see or even get to the back of a unit that's not a part of your yard because their unit joins on and is kind of used as a fence. So like the scarb, you can't do this anymore. There's a thing there, but like there's a walkway there because of the Matilda East and Matilda West units, but the back units, so the wax units and that, used to be able to walk up to the Scarborough South back door, and the people from Scarborough South used to be able to talk to the people from the backyard, So anyway, I remember, there was a plan at bay to get Julian, and that's all it was, a plan. Nothing ever happened, and as per usual, Julian was walking around looking suspicious, as he does. He's a sus looking character, but like, look, you never even really hear him talking. Like, I've never been in the unit with him, but like, I've heard of when I was at Port Phillip, I heard that he caught someone stealing off him, and bam, he broke their nose. I think they stole something. He caught them stealing something out of the fridge, and bam, right on spot, he just went bam, boom, and broke the dude's nose. And that was actually used in court why he shouldn't be given a bottom. Like they're saying, he's not a rehabilitated person, and he should not be put out in the public, And so there was actually a law made especially for Julian, and it was just so he couldn't get out of jail. And so it also applies to Craig Minogue as well. And so I can do a video on Craig Minogue as well. I've been in jail with Craig Minogue and, had short conversations with Craig. He's the Hoddle Street, the guy that killed the police, tried blowing up the police station or something like that. Russell Street, Hoddle. Julian is the Hoddle Street. Old mate is the Russell Street bomber, Craig Minogue. But yeah, look, it's a tough one, but he's never really been beaten up. I can't say that I know of him being beaten up, and how has he made it all the way through? I mean, I guess he's just flown under the radar. I mean, that can be because you would see him running and stuff like that. Like, I haven't been in the unit with him, but you never see him out and about other than going to the library. And, so he was pretty much all day, every day under the radar. And I guess, one of those, if you're not in sight, you're not there type thing. And so I think that's what saved Julian. And don't get me wrong, he's a boo bed like the rest of us, you know what I mean? Like, he's done a lot of jail and he's a very institutionalized. I mean, the guy must weigh 50 kilos ringing wet, but let's face it, this guy, trains most of the time. And like I said, he does 30-minute rounds. So having a 2-minute fight with this guy is going to be nothing. You know what I mean? Like, he is a bit of a machine, although he doesn't look like it, but he is, as far as training goes, Julian's an animal and, trains like a machine and runs for hours and hours and hours on end. He's a machine. Do I agree with what he done? Absolutely not. Would I have something to say to him about it? Probably not. It's not my place to say. There's been plenty of prisoners before me that could have had something to say to Julian and didn't. So, why am I going to do it? You know what I mean? Do I disagree with what he did? Yeah, it's a shit thing to do, Does he own up to it? Yeah, he does, and there's no reasoning for it. I mean, he was getting bullied at the Defence Force Academy, wherever he was, and he left that day in a huff, and it's just a bullshit reason to do it, and it's weak as piss. It's a coward's act, But look, would I do anything about it? Look, I don't know. If I was in the unit with the guy, it'd be different. But just as normal every day, I used to see him up at the gym and that. He used to say g'day to me. I'd say g'day to him. That's as far as it went. I never had a conversation with Julian, but I think he just made it through by flying under the radar, and that's basically the gist of it, So yeah, there you go, guys. Julian Night. Like I said, I'll somewhere along the lines do a video on Craig Minogue. He's never getting out of jail, and so I don't mind about doing videos like that. But I always say this: there's a fine line between telling a story and telling on someone. So I always keep it real. But anyway, guys, I have been the Chaos Chronicles. You guys have been absolutely awesome. We out.
I am also the guy who decides if you and your friends walk out of here or not.